Hello, my name is Shirley Ryder. You're on the Shirley Ryder Show, and today we are talking about Michael Baxter. If his name sounds familiar, it's because he heads a couple of other bands as well as doing an amazing project himself. The other bands you may have heard him with are Dead Man 6 and the Knids. There's been a review written about his latest album, which is called The Deal. It calls this piece of work genius work. Hello and welcome to the Shirley Ryder Show. You're with Shirley Ryder, and today we have Michael Baxter on the show.
It's a really good review.
And a well-deserved
really
review. Well-deserved
Oh,
review.
thank you.
Great.
It came about in 2021 during the lockdown, and I think a lot of people had a lot of inspiration during lockdown, but mine was just to do something that I always wanted to do, which was a concept album where the songs on the album were just about the same subject, or they had a story. To me, it's more like a musical that doesn't exist, a soundtrack to a musical that doesn't exist. What I did was I wrote the first song, Fires of Hell, and I was listening to a lot of Meatloaf and a lot of Jim Steinman. I really like his over-the-top pomposity and grandiosity of his lyrics and his music. It's not for everyone's taste, but it's just so much that you just have to appreciate. And Bat Out of Hell is just a classic album. So what I did was I wrote the first song, and the first person that popped into my head when I wrote it, and I recorded it I did a demo, and I just thought of Kingsley, and Kingsley's a local musician.
He sounds exactly like Meatloaf.
Do you regret the things you said to me? Do you regret the things you did? I opened up my soul for you. You kept your feelings hid.
He sounds I know. And Kingsley was hoping to do a Meatloaf tribute show, and he would make a killing. He would really
Especially
would.
Now, eh?
Yeah, and the thing is, he's not far from looking like Meatloaf. I mean, if he had the frilly shirt and the band and then the wrist thing around his wrist, he would put on a great show. And I really hope he does it. I mean, if you look on SoundCloud, he's already recorded a few Meatloaf songs, and they're fantastic. So I said to him, I took it to him. I took the first song to him. Actually, I took all the songs to him because I wrote them out over a certain period of time. And I said to him, "Oh, you've got to. Could you do this for me? Could you?" And he goes, "Yeah, not a problem at all." And he goes, "Do you want me to play the piano as well?" And I thought, "Yes, please."
He does a great job of piano synthesizers.
Yeah, he does a great job. So I already had piano on it, but nothing to what he brought to the table. And he's so he sang it. He sent back the vocal stems to me. I did it all on my iPad. I started doing all my music on iPad. I'm a big fan of the DIY philosophy. And then he just sang it for me. And the album itself is just it's a story of a man meeting a woman at a bus stop. They go on really well for a few weeks. He decides that he's missing out, as men do, and he decides to call it quits. She gets really angry with him, makes a deal with the devil.
She makes the devil.
To get revenge on him.
Oh yeah.
And then there's a song on the album called Superman Revenge, sung by Lara Wilson.
Lara Wilson, and she does a wonderful job of it.
From Dead, she's fantastic. Yeah. From Dead Simple.
She really suits that song, I thought. Yeah, it's great.
I mean, when I was talking to Kingsley, your name popped up, and I wanted, and I. But I didn't know you at the time, so I thought, well, I'll ask Lara because I know Lara.
Lara did a great job.
Yeah, so we went round for dinner one night, and
she makes a good dinner too.
Yeah, it was fantastic. We had a good night, and so she sang that song, and then I got her and Glenn and my partner Corin to do backing vocals on the one of the tracks, "Welcome to the World of the Dead." So they joined in as well.
That's right, yeah.
And so the woman has revenge on the man, and in the meantime, the man thinks, "Oh, I think I've made a mistake. I really want to get back together with this woman." So he meets this guy in a bar. Turns out to be the devil again. I know it's a bit over the top and a bit far-fetched, but it's all in my mind. And he makes a deal with the devil to get the woman back. So they've both made the deal with the devil, and then in return, the devil's getting 2 souls. So he wins out. He wins out over both of them. So they get back together again. Then he realizes he's a man, and he doesn't want in anymore. And so he breaks it off with her again. They both go to hell, and the devil makes them the deal. It's simple like that. It's really just about how far you'll go for love and how far you'll go for revenge. Yeah,
I read it that that's the extremes of
both. Yeah. I mean, the fine line, obviously, the fine line between love and hate.
Yeah, true. Yeah, because I think that's passion, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's all it is. It's passion. Yeah.
Once you get to the point of I don't care, there's not much left, really.
And so the songs themselves, they came to me in no time at all.
What inspired you to write this?
Well, it was.
Did you actually have a relationship at one point with this person, Angeline, or something?
No, I've never. A lot of my material that I write is fictitious. I mean, I might have a line of something that might have happened to me, and everything's written around that line,
right?
And then that's when the storytelling comes in.
Yeah.
So it's it's. So nothing really inspired me to write it except for the fact that we're in lockdown. Yeah. I needed something to do. Yeah. I didn't want to work from home, although I was supposed to be working from home. But I wrote a few songs at home, and then it just stemmed from there. And it's definitely the best thing I've done. And whether I'll do a follow-up, I'm not sure. I'd really like to do another concept album with a different theme.
Yeah, that'll be
And
cool.
I'd really like to get Kingsley involved again.
Kingsley was great.
Yeah.
And do you think, I was going to ask you, do you think, because it's so good, do you think that you would adapt it to a stage play or a film?
That would be a dream, obviously, to do that.
Yeah.
I think I'd need help. I need help with scripts and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think it could easily be done, but it's
even just poetry around it to bring it together.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, amongst all that,
it is poetry.
I do a couple of spoken words because Steinman does a lot of spoken word. The start of Bad Out of Hell, or the start of 2 Out of 3 Ain't Bad, or something like that. On a hot summer night. Yeah. All that sort of stuff. And then on his solo album, he does spoken words as well. And so really, it was Steinman that inspired me to do that. But I've always liked musicals. I like Rocky Horror. I like Little Shop of Horrors. There's one called Phantom of the Paradise from the 70s, which is Paul Williams written.
Because it's really a rock. They described it as a rock opera.
Yeah. And that's how I sort of describe it as well. Yeah. But it's. But I loved it, and I loved it completely, and I loved working with the people that helped me out. Chris Shannon did the voice of the devil for me, which isn't hard when you've got you're able to slow down voices, and stuff like that. Yeah. But he also sang the Welcome to the World of the Dead, and Lara helped out, Corin helped out, and Glenn helped out, and it's just so good, and I thank Kingsley from the bottom of my heart.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing, and because I've been to a few little local studios doing a few things, but I've never been to Kingsley's studio. So what's that one like? Oh,
it's probably in a room the size of the one we're in now, which is just a sort of a lounge room. He's got his bedroom. He's got a spare room at his place. He's got a couple of 2 monitors, 2 speakers either side, and he's just really just done out of a room. So it's. So
he does. What instruments does he play?
Kingsley
you could ask
is
him
an
for?
aficionado of the bass,
Yeah.
bass guitar, and he is an expert keyboard player. I asked him to do. I said to him, I was thinking at work. I was thinking, musicals have like medleys or overtures, and I said, Kingsley, do you think you'd be able to do an overture of all the songs?
Wow.
He goes, yeah, I think I can knock one out. Next day, I got that.
Wow.
So the last song brought all of it together, and it was the overture of all the songs together.
Yep.
And it brings together everything with the quote right at the end, where it says,
"We are each our own devil, and we make this world our hell."
Yeah, so really that's just saying, and that's an Oscar Wilde quote, and that's just basically saying we are each our own devil, and we make this world our hell. It's our own foibles and our own insecurities that make the world our hell. That just make everything that we do.
Our own decisions.
Yeah. So I thought that was a perfect quote to end the album.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Does it have a spiritual aspect as well as a relationship aspect? Do you think it has a
The
deeper
only
level?
well, I'm not a spiritual person, but I did both the characters. Angeline is I'm specifically made the names biblical sort of names. So Angeline as an angel,
right?
And
Gabriel
as in the angel as well.
Yeah.
So they were specifically given those names, and also the name Angeline. It's so much easier to write songs when you've got 3 syllables on a name.
Oh, there you go.
It is so much easier.
It's a nice soft sounding name.
Yeah,
too.
it is. Yeah, and Angeline is the most such a catchy song. And,
it is very catchy. The first time I heard it, I thought,
I don't usually listen to my own stuff, but every now and then I'll pop it on in the car and I'll listen to the songs.
Yeah.
Angeline, you took the best of me, took me to the edge of hell. I'm learning to love myself. Angeline, you took the best of me, took me to the
What influences were in your life musically, and what drew you towards music in the first place?
My first memories of music, obviously, is mum and dad. My dad he was a huge Johnny Cash fan, Patsy Cline, country music, Jerry Lee Lewis, Little Richard, rock and roll, but mainly it was the King, Elvis Presley, and to this day he's still one of my favourite performers. He can sing anything. That's got a fantastic voice. I took a trip on my 50th. I took a pilgrimage to Graceland.
Wow.
Yeah. So I just had to. I don't know. He's a huge influence on me. But my brother, when I was like 10, 12 years old, he would bring records home. Him and his best friend Tony. So that's when my music changed from things like Elvis and Kiss, which I'll tell you about, and they changed because he was bringing records home like Duran Duran during the New Wave era and Simple Minds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then he brought home The Clash's London Calling.
Oh yes, that was a good song.
Man, that album just changed everything for me. And then The Jam, Paul Weller from The Jam, his songwriting is just amazing. And then Billy Bragg obviously is my main influence. He's a British singer-songwriter, political singer-songwriter, and writes fantastic love songs as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and he's, it's probably the artist I've seen the most live.
Yeah, and of course Stu and Corin recently went down to see Billy Bragg, but
it was cancelled due to COVID.
Oh, as usual, yeah.
He'll be back, and I've got no fears that he'll be back. And
it was on Valentine's Day.
It was on Valentine's Day. We had a nice trip down to Wellington anyway.
That's good. And he sings a song about Valentine's.
Yeah, Valentine's Day is over, but that song's about domestic abuse. So none of that was involved.
I've actually got a song called Way, which is Women Against Violence Education. That's coming out on my CD. So,
cool.
But it's also against domestic violence. Just reminded me when you said that. So, it's quite a big, horrible subject, but.
Yeah, it's a horrible subject, but you're right about you have to bring these sort of things to the forefront.
Yeah, as songwriters, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. Back in the Liberated Squid days, a band I used to be in, it was all political songs, a lot of political songs. And
Who was in that band?
So that was myself. John was on guitar, first band he'd been in when he played guitar. Obviously he's a bass player. That's my brother. And Jason was who's now in the Dead Man 6, the bass player in Dead Man 6, was the drummer back then. Yep. And my brother's friend Tony, or my friend as well, Tony, who I just mentioned previously about bringing records home. Yeah, so that was a punk rock band, and that was the first band that I wrote songs for.
So you're a songwriter, and obviously you sang, or you were singing on.
I sort of sing. I mean, I don't like my own singing. Yeah, but I love writing and producing things.
Yeah. And you make your own CDs, designs?
Yeah, do my own graphics on the on the songs.
Yeah. I wouldn't know how to do that. I can't even work out the templates.
Oh no, it's a piece of cake. The first band I was in, it was Form 1 at Intermediate.
Okay.
Myself, my best friend Paul, Sean Walker, and Shane Copeland, who used to be in bands with John. We did a mime to Kisses I Was Made for Loving You. We had guitar. We had tennis rackets with guitars, cardboard cutout guitars on them. We had an actual drummer. Shane was the actual drummer, but we mimed the rest of it. And that was the first time I was ever on stage. And we sang.
Wow.
Obviously, Paul was the singer, so he sang.
Have you still got the footage?
No footage back then. No.
I've got photographs of some guys that I knew when I was young, and they were all dressed up as Kiss with the big heels and everything.
Oh yeah,
I was so convincing.
I mean, because back then they just it's a visual thing, and I've been to see Kiss a couple of times, and you definitely get your money's worth because of the show, the fireworks, the theatrical special effects, and everything like that. And then at school, college in sixth form, I was in a band called Urban Services, and we got a song on a Tauranga compilation album called Behind the Kiwi Fruit Curtain, with people like Derek Jacobs, Clark, what's his name? Graham Clark. Beasley Street, and there was bands like Black Rose from Te Puke, and it was a heavy metal band.
Oh, that was a Shane Davies and Pat and all that.
Yeah, was it?
Black Rose?
Oh, yeah, were they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was back in the day. They sang a song I really liked, actually.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called, but anyway, sorry, Karen.
Oh yeah, no. So that was a good experience because we went to Rotorua to a recording studio to do that the first time in the recording studio, and then since then, nothing, and then I started going to these Tauranga Music Sucks.
Oh
gigs.
yeah. Which is they've renamed it now. Your Enabler.
Your Enabler presents.
That's the one. Yeah.
Austin Cunningham, who does a lot of great work for Tauranga music. He had this gig under the bridge, the Tauranga Harbour Bridge, for one Easter, I think it was, and he had a band there called Gold Medal Famous. I've done nothing. I did nothing for years and years and years, and this was like 2013 when I went to this gig, and there was this band there called Gold Medal Famous, and I looked at them and I thought, I can do better than that. And that's what influenced me to get back into music again.
Oh, that's good.
And so I went away and I wrote the first song, and then I got my brother together with Tony and Jason, and we started Liberated Squid. So I wrote that first song, Gabba Gabba Hey, which was a sort of a homage to the Ramones. And then from then on we did a few albums, all done at home, all recorded at home, a lot of gigs, and had a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on, and Dead Man 6.
So Dead Man 6, Dead Man 6 is the current band I'm in. So
it's a punk band, is that right?
Oh, look, it started as my description of it at the start was noise pop. But I wanted it to go in a different direction than it actually has done. So
it's very energetic.
Yeah. I mean, the songs are more rock than anything else, I suppose, now.
Okay. Because I saw you guys at Lara and Wilson's CD launch, and
yeah. You guys were there too, and playing really well, and you recorded a bit of it for us. So I started off with myself and Jason, who was the bass player in Liberated Squid, and then he became. He was the drummer in Liberated Squid and became bass player in Dead Man 6.
Okay.
John, got my brother John again on guitar. We had Brett Williams, who you know.
Brett used to be my flatmate.
That's right, and he was in one of your bands at early stages.
Oh, Seventh Night.
Yeah, which I don't know anything about. So
well,
that's good.
no, we never actually. We made a few music videos, but it was more of a jam band, really.
Yeah.
We never actually. We were supposed to be making an album, but it just never happened.
Yeah, he's a fantastic guitar player, and he's really keyed in with sonic sounds and how far away you should be and all this sort of stuff. And
he's actually a great comedian too.
Oh yeah, I mean he can talk the ear off a dead donkey. I don't know whether that's the same, but you know.
Always used to make me laugh.
Yeah, he does, and he's great at changing lyrics around in songs to make them smutty.
Very good. Yeah.
But yeah, so Brett, and then we got Dean Crossley on drums, and it's really hard to find a good drummer, and if you find a good drummer, then you really got your band made, I reckon. That's the whole key. And then Nigel Gregory, he's just a friend of mine who did poetry, and I said to him, do you want to try doing keyboards? And he goes, oh yeah, I'll give it a go. And so I bought a little keyboard and got him to play along. And he'd never played anything before in his life, and it's probably taken him a good couple of years to get up to speed with timing and everything like that. But he's, because he's a friend, to me, being in the band's all about having fun.
Yeah.
It's not, you're never going to be like a millionaires or anything like that. You're never going to...
Well, very unlikely.
You do it for the fun. We get together every weekend. We practice.
And of course, you got Corinne.
Well, got Corinne, who joined later on. I was going to mention later on. Yeah, so she joined later on.
Yeah.
Because she was in a choir, and she was used to take photographs of us. She took. We got to know her through Liberated Squid, and she used to come and do photographs. And she's an amazing photographer. She's giving it away now.
And of course, you've got your love story with Corinne.
Oh well, yes.
We like to have a little.
We don't want to go into that too much, though, do we? Yeah. So we got to know each other as friends, and then a relationship happened, and she's the love of my life. So
that's awesome.
And we just we just get on really well.
That's great.
And so I asked her to join the band, just doing a few backing vocals, a bit of percussion here and there. And she enjoys it too, yeah. But I wish she would pick up a photography again. She's a really good band photographer.
Is she?
Yeah, a really good band photographer. It's just a matter of getting out late at night to photograph bands, you know.
It is a bit of a pain, I suppose.
Yeah.
I noticed John's taken up. John Baxter.
Yeah. He's got an exhibition this.
Because he's always done art, but I noticed he's got a photography page. I didn't know that he did photography.
Yeah, he does do photography. I think it's just a thing on the side. But there's at the Jam Factory this week. Not the Jam Factory, on the Incubator this week. There's a gig photographers exhibition starting on Friday, and it's Friday, March the 18th this week.
Okay.
There's a whole lot of people that take gig photographs. So that's good.
Okay.
That opens up on Friday.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, it'd be really good to see that.
Oh, cool.
And so Dead Man 6, yeah.
Sorry, yep.
So we got together after Liberated Squid had artistic differences. Well, no, it was really just a little argument over an Indian dinner. But but yeah, and then we got to, and then we just practice every weekend. We just do it for fun. I still write songs for them all the time.
That's awesome. What sort of songs?
Well, this is the thing. So I spent years doing a few years doing the political songs. A few funny songs like Zombie Girl, which is a really good song for Liberated Squid, and then for the Dead Man 6, I started doing more love songs, which I never did for Liberated Squid. And I've always shied away from doing love songs. And I suppose I still do. I shy away from doing I'm in love songs rather.
Do you think it's because it's personal?
No, I don't really write from a personal level. I might have one line that I think to myself, and then I'll base a whole song around that.
Well, I mean, do you feel like you're exposing too much of yourself if you?
No, not at all. No, because I don't mind doing that.
Okay, so
yeah, I've got no problem with that. There's the odd song here and there that is true to life, I suppose, with me, but very few and far between. I just saw a lot of it's just from your head. and so yeah, the Dead Man 6 songs are just there's a song about Evel Knievel, who was a hero of mine when I was a kid, growing up in the 70s. It was it was like the only hero there was around. It's just, and then it's really good now because there's Jason started writing a few songs. Corin's done some lyrics which I've added song music to. Nigel has written a song and I add music to that as well. He wrote one called Princess of the Punk about it was really about his ex-marriage, his old marriage.
Yeah.
And we tried doing a few Carradine songs.
Yeah.
And Brett is very precious about those songs, so he said, I think we better leave it. John still hasn't brought us any songs, but the good thing about that is he's got a lot of lyrics, and just probably about a month ago I started recording one of those songs for him, producing it. So we've got down some drums, we've got down guitar tracks, so we just have to get some bass tracks and some vocals now for him, and he'll have his first song, so that's really good. Yeah. Poetry,
because I don't know, obviously you do a little bit of the poetic verse because you've done it on your album previous, and I know John does a lot of poetry, and I saw a picture of you guys on Facebook.
Yep.
You look like maybe you were doing poetry. So
yeah, every year.
Do you go to a poetry group? Or
I don't.
John does.
John does. Yep. Nigel does from the band.
Yep.
They both do poetry, and
do you do a lot of poetry yourself?
I do a little bit. A lot of it ends up being, well, not a lot of it. Some of it ends up being songs.
Yeah.
That Made For You on the Deal album, One Dead Man album, is a poem that I've reverted into a song, and that one's actually about Corin. So that was one. Nice. That's a sort of a personal, true to life sort of song that I wrote. And but yeah, poetry. Yeah, we do. I mean, Fringe at the Fringe Festival, we get together and do a thing called the Waiting Room, where we're three guys sitting in a waiting room, and then we read out poetry. And it's usually supposed to be three guys sitting in a STI clinic.
Oh.
And we really want to do like a themed poems about that sort of thing, but it's sort of a performance piece.
Yeah. Awesome. And I suppose I should ask you the Dead Man thing that you've had to begin with, and now you got Dead Man 6. Is there any correlation between that dead?
Yeah, well, no, I mean the Dead Man 6. The Dead Man 6, obviously the 7 is in band, and we were originally called the Dead Man 6, and then Corin joined. 6 of us in band. Yeah. And then I wanted to do the solo thing, and I thought, well, the best name I can come up with, rather than the Dead Man 6, I'm one dead man, so I'm just one of those people.
Yeah, one of those.
So that's really all it is.
That's where it came from. I wondered if it was silly.
That's just silly. Yeah. It's just
names
simple
are just like that, aren't they?
Yeah.
You just have to have a name, so you just go along with this.
Yeah. Well, what I do is when I come up with names, I think you Google search.
Yeah.
And if something comes up as Liberated Squid, and then you think, well, if someone else is going to Google search you, then you want to be the only thing that comes up.
Yeah.
I Google search Dead Man 6. Yeah. No, the band's called the Dead Man 6. So
that's basically what I did on my list to start onto.
Yeah.
But Dead Man 6. For example, do you have any plans to record? Have you recorded? I don't know.
We've done a demo recording from practice that Brett's put together, and we did a recording of one song called it's called the Dead Man song. Which is, but it's really just
Is it more of a fun band?
It's more of a fun band. I'd love to record some songs. I've got some really good songs going at the moment. We've got one, Lightning Never Strikes Twice. And we've got another one called Ammunition, and we've got another one called Ever. And I'd really like to do like a 4 or 5 song EP.
That'd be good.
It really would be good.
I thought of that with the Lab Rats at one stage, just doing 4 or 5.
Yeah, rather than a full 40 minutes or something like that. It'd be really good, but getting 7 people at the same time,
it's hard.
It's difficult, and I don't want to pay for it out of my own pocket. So
tell me about it.
And that's why I do it DIY at home, so I don't have to pay for anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, moving on to your other band that you've got now, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Is it the Nids or the
That's the Knids. familiar with Roald Dahl, the author?
No.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, yeah. I know that. You say that.
Charlie and Go Sailor Man. Yeah, Fantastic Mr. Fox, all that. Well, in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, there's a creature called the Vermicious Cynid.
Yep.
It's in the Great Glass Elevator, the Vermicious Cynid.
Okay.
And that's
where it came
it's
from.
based on that. So we call the Cynids. I know it's really hard to pronounce, isn't it?
Cynids. Well, now I know.
Yeah. So people do call it the Nids. But yeah, that's just a studio band. We don't do live or anything like that. It'd be nice to. Chris Shannon is involved with that. I got Chris in to do... He came in halfway through. Corinne's involved with that. She does. She sings and writes songs. So this is a great opportunity for her to write some lyrics, and I put the music to it. Chris has got some lyrics, which I've stolen some words from and put some to the music. It's a... This is probably the band that I wanted the Dead Man 6 to be. It's more of an atmospheric, a lot of reverb, a lot of... I wanted sort of feedback guitars and stuff like that. But it's changed a bit. It's now more keyboard orientated, piano orientated. Lo-fi stuff.
Okay.
I really enjoy doing it.
And did you rescue me from fate? Can you feel my hate? I guess you had your reasons.
So I write those songs. Chris comes round. He sings the songs. Corinne and I put backing vocals on them. And then, that's pretty much it. And we've got an album there called One Giant Leap for Mankind. No, One Giant Leap for Man, One small leap for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Oh,
so,
very good.
Freak show, 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 freak show.
So, obviously John does artwork. Do you do artwork as well? Because you do the design. You do designing with your CDs.
I do sort of the graphic design, but that's all on my iPad and stuff like that. Artwork.
The reason I ask is because the CD had some quite cool artwork in it with the rose and that sort of thing, and the revolt with I like how you had the love backwards with the T R and the T. Yeah, that was
that's just something that came to my mind. But no, I get single images and then I adapt the image, either reverse it and change the colours, and then I put it on top of something else. Okay. Might put flames on it. Just existing images that I mutilate for my own benefit, and then I use graphics to put the words on them as well. But artwork, I've done one piece of artwork in recent years, and that was for a exhibition down at the incubator. It was a 10 pins from a 10 pin bowling alley that you had to, old ones that you had to do something with. I made it into Beaker from the Muppets.
Okay.
So artwork, I'm nowhere near as good as John. I mean, I'd like to. I doodle, but nothing. I don't do artwork or anything like that. But I do like graphic design work, and I really like.
We've all got our thing, eh?
Yeah.
And I suppose I should finish because I didn't ask you about this at the beginning, I don't think. But we did sort of mention when you turned up that we brought up in England.
Yep.
Which of course John was as well. Cause, obviously.
Yeah.
But how? It didn't sort of.
yeah.
But just sort of going back over that. So, how old were you when you came over here then?
I was 10 years old, so it was standing through.
That's the same age as me because I was 9 when I came over.
Yeah, I mean it was fine. I suppose that was a good age for someone to come over here. You lose your accent pretty quickly because you sort of have to if you you just get picked on. I
got picked on too. Yeah.
So you just
it's all good.
Yeah. You just lose it. I mean, you can. When I used to go back home, I used to fall back in. Visit mum and dad. I used to fall back into it quite simply. But it's to me. I'm a New Zealander now.
Same.
So I
Have you been back?
Yeah, I've been back a couple of times. Great to visit. horrible to. It would be horrible to live there.
I didn't like it. I went back when I was 22, and it was even then it was just like a different place to me. And I knew I belonged here.
Yeah, absolutely. I got citizenship. I only got citizenship probably about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So before then I was, but yeah, no, England is. I'm not drawn to it in any shape or form.
Yeah, it's part of the past.
Part of my past. I love English. I love British music more than any other music. That means more than others. Great Scottish bands, great Irish bands, great Welsh bands, great English bands.
Oh, there's been some brilliant bands.
And I love British bands more than anything else, and that's probably what influences me the most.
About that country.
About that country, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and of course, like this day and age with Russia and all the rest of it.
Well,
goodness knows where we're heading off to.
Yeah, it's good to be here, on this side of the world.
Probably is, actually. Yeah. Hey, well, look, have you got anything that you want to say?
No, thanks for having me. I've enjoyed it.
Good.
It's been good to get to know you as well.
Yeah.
So it's really
Next
good.
time you can ask me to do some singing on it.
Yeah. Well, I will now because I've got that. I've got that in now. Awesome keyboard.
Probably not as good as Kingsley.
Oh, look, that'd be fine.
Actually, but look, thanks very much for coming around. It's really great.
Pleasure.
Good getting to know you too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, see you guys.